Doug Ellis here with Atlantic Paddle Source, and today Jenny Cohen and I are going to talk to you about some tips for buying your first stand-up paddleboard.
Alright, so the first thing you want to think about is doing a little research before you get into the shop. You need to think ahead, not just what you want to do with your stand-up paddleboard today, but over the next year, maybe 2 years. You want to grow with the sport as well, and you want your board to grow with you. So the first thing you want to think about is how you want to use the board. Do you want to use it for stand-up paddle surfing? Do you want to use it for racing? We've got a race board over here. Do you want to use it just to paddle around with your family? Do you want to paddle long distances and on flat water? So the first thing you want to have in mind is basically what direction you want to go with stand-up paddling. And if you've never done it before, it could be a good time to check out some different groups and actually try some demos in some different shops and things like that.
One thing you want to make sure that you do before you buy any paddleboard is to get it on the water. Demo the board. Any shop worth their salt is going to let you put the board that you want to buy on the water and see how it paddles. Every board will feel different, so make sure that you get as much time on the water as you can, knowing exactly what you're getting. Another thing you really want to consider is where you're going to buy your stand-up paddleboard and paddle. You wouldn't buy a pair of running shoes from someone who's never run a 5K, just like you wouldn't want to buy your new pair of skis from a snowboarder. Make sure that you buy your stand-up paddleboard from somebody who actually stand-up paddles. Use your local resources such as local paddle businesses, friends who paddle, clubs and organizations that are dedicated to stand-up paddling in your area. These are going to be your best resources for buying your first paddleboard, and tips and tricks on what to stay away from and what to buy, rather than just walking into your local surf shop and buying the first thing off the rack.
Alright, so the next thing you want to think about is what paddle you're going to get. And after you've put the research into what board you want, you definitely want to do some research on your paddle. The paddles can make a difference based on the material that they are. A lot of it is the width of the blade, as well as how heavy they are, down to the ounces. If you think about paddling a lot and you're making a lot of strokes, if you want to paddle multiple distances, you definitely want to err on the side of the lightest paddle that you can find and the price point that you want to pay. You'll find price points of anywhere from $80 for a paddle on up to $300 plus. Also, if you're looking just for a good family paddle, an adjustable paddle might be a good option so that you can actually adjust it to the height of each person in your family. So what is that height? This is something you definitely want to know before you go into the shop. You don't want to err on the side of what the shop owner tells you the paddle height should be. You want to do what's comfortable for you. So this one, for me, would be way too tall. As you can see, when I'm standing flat-footed, I can't get my hand on the top grip. Basically, you want to go 8 to 10 inches above your head. This one, which is my paddle, if I'm standing flat-footed, I can reach up and grab the top of the handle with my arm fully extended. This is what you want to look for. And then you can cheat it a couple inches higher if you want the blade to sink down further, or a couple inches lower if that feels more comfortable for you. So again, when you're thinking about what paddle to buy, make sure you do your research, check around, ask other paddlers what brands they like the best, what feels the best when they're paddling long distance or races or surfing with their stand-up paddleboard. And just remember the rule of 8 to 10 inches above your head, and then try some out and see what feels right for you.
If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Remember that you get what you pay for when it comes to stand-up paddleboarding. There's a lot of deals out there that look too good to be true, and if you see those, they probably are. The materials used, the design details, the care that's put into the board, construction, all of those go into dictating the price of a stand-up paddleboard. Think of it as an investment in something that you want to last. You don't necessarily need to get the most expensive board out there, but just be sure that you're getting a board that suits your needs and it's going to last you more than one season, so you don't find yourself going back to the shop and having to pay for a whole new board. Again, you get what you pay for. Make sure you pay for quality, and it's going to last you a lot longer, and you'll have a much better time without having to worry about the board.
So while we said that you want to make sure that you buy something that you're thinking 1 year or 2 years ahead, at the same time, you also want to think about what you're comfortable with. You don't want to go ahead and start out with a race board if you've never stand-up paddled before. You don't want to go so narrow that you're not going to be able to stand up on it. Also, you want to make sure that it fits right for your height, your weight. All those things come into play, and we can help you out more on that on a next video. But for right now, just make sure that you don't overestimate your skill level while looking for your first board.
Thanks for tuning in to our first video tip on Atlantic Paddle Source, buying your first stand-up paddleboard. Tune in for more tips along the way, and we hope to see you out on the water.